The missing room, one. The Vanishing Act detective Henry Kessler had seen plenty of strange disappearances. Runaways. Faked deaths. Even people vanishing under impossible circumstances. But the case of Daniel Wakefield was different. Because Daniel Wakefield had disappeared from a hotel room that never existed. The call came in on a cold November evening. The manager of the Blackwood Hotel, a historic but run-down building in Boston, reported that a guest had vanished overnight. No checkout, no security footage of him leaving. Just gone. Kessler arrived, expecting the usual, a staged disappearance, a drug overdose hidden away, maybe even a simple clerical error. But when he asked which room the man had checked into, the manager hesitated. "Room 441, sir." Kessler scribbled it down. "All right. Let's take a look." The manager's face paled. "That's the thing, detective. We don't have a room 441. Kessler frowned. "What do you mean?" The manager gulped. "Our hotel only goes up to floor 4, room 440. There is no room 441. But Daniel Wakefield's check-in record clearly stated, room 441. To the evidence that shouldn't exist. Kessler and his partner, Detective Rachel Monroe, searched the 4th floor anyway. No sign of a room 441. Just a solid wall where it should have been. Yet, the hotel logs confirmed that Wakefield had checked in. Security cameras even caught him walking toward the non-existent room, except, in the footage, he simply vanished mid-stride. Monroe rewound the footage, watching frame by frame. At 10:23 p.m., Wakefield walked down the hall, past room 440. At 10:24 p.m., he was gone. No cut. No distortion. Just, missing. Kessler checked Wakefield's credit card history. It confirmed a charge for room 441. Even stranger, Wakefield had sent a text to a friend at 10:25 p.m., reading, "Settled in. This place is weird. Feels off." He had sent the message from inside a room that didn't exist. 3. The room that wasn't there the next day, Kessler brought in a building inspector. Old blueprints of the Blackwood Hotel showed that the 4th floor had once had a room 441, but it had been sealed off decades ago. It was still there, behind the walls. But no doors. No way in. Kessler's gut twisted. If the room was physically there, how had Wakefield entered it? That's when Monroe made a chilling discovery. She had been going through Wakefield's phone records and found a voicemail, one he had left at 10:26 p.m., a minute after his last text. A voicemail that should not have been possible. She pressed play. At first, there was static. Then, Wakefield's voice, "Hello? Hello?" There's a sharp gasp. A thud, as if the phone had dropped. Then, whispering. But not from him. A second voice. Soft. Amused. Right next to the microphone. "You shouldn't have come here." The voicemail cut off. Kessler and Monroe looked at each other. Someone, or something, had been in that impossible room with him. For the final revelation the next day, a demolition crew was sent to break open the wall where room 441 used to be. They drilled through layers of drywall and plaster. Finally, the original wooden door appeared, buried beneath decades of renovations. They forced it open. Inside, the room was immaculate, untouched by time. The bed neatly made. The windowless walls covered in faded wallpaper. A suitcase, Wakefield's, sat open on the floor. His clothes were folded neatly on the dresser. But no sign of Wakefield himself. Except for one thing. On the nightstand was a Polaroid photograph. Kessler picked it up, his fingers trembling. It showed the hotel hallway outside room 441. And in the foreground, someone was standing in the doorway. Not Daniel Wakefield. Not anyone they recognized. A smiling man in an old-fashioned bellhop uniform. His eyes were completely black. Underneath the photo, in neat handwriting, were 3 words, "Welcome back, detective." Kessler's blood ran cold. Because he had never been to the Blackwood Hotel before. Had he? The twist, room 441 existed, and still does, but only for certain people. Daniel Wakefield disappeared into something that wasn't supposed to be there. The hotel tried to erase its past, but the past refused to be erased. And somehow, Kessler has been involved before. Even if he doesn't remember. The Missing Room, Part 2, Echoes of Room 441. Detective Kessler stared at the empty space on the 4th floor, where room 441 should have been. The wall was smooth, freshly painted, uninterrupted. But the key he held was cold in his palm, real as the beat of his heart, and it still bore the tarnished brass tag etched with that cursed number. 441, he blinked. For a moment, the hallway dimmed. The sterile fluorescence flickered, and he could almost hear it, the music. A low, off-tune piano melody leaking from nowhere and everywhere at once. Then came the memory. Not like a flashback, more like a whisper. Faint, but undeniable. He had been here before. Back in his motel room, Kessler poured a drink with a trembling hand. Whiskey sloshed over his fingers. He ignored it. He pulled out the case file again. Angela Mercer. Age 27. Last seen entering room 441 at the Holloway Hotel. Never seen again. Her photo stared up at him. Blonde hair. Bright eyes. A smile that didn't quite reach them. Kessler frowned. Why did she look familiar? He downed the glass in one gulp and collapsed into the creaky armchair. The wallpaper buzzed with static silence. Then he saw it. A second photo. Once he hadn't noticed before, slipped between the pages like a forgotten bookmark. A black and white Polaroid. Dated October 17, 1997. The same date scrawled in red ink on the back of Angela's missing person report. But the photo didn't show her. It showed him. A younger version of Kessler, barely out of the academy. Standing outside room. The door was open behind him, and his face looked hollow. Like he'd just seen the devil and shook its hand. His breath caught. He didn't remember this. Didn't want to. That night, he dreamed in sepia tones. The hallway of the Holloway stretched endlessly, warped and sagging like a funhouse mirror. Room 441 pulsed at the end of the corridor, glowing faintly. He reached for the doorknob, and as he touched it, something whispered behind the door, "You left her here." Kessler bolted upright, drenched in sweat. The photo lay on the nightstand now. He was sure he'd locked it in the case file. The next morning, he returned to the hotel. The concierge, a different one than yesterday, older, with cloudy eyes, smiled knowingly as he entered. "Room 441, she rasped. "You're getting close." Kessler stopped cold. "What did you say?" But she was already on the phone, pretending he wasn't there at all. Back on the 4th floor, the hallway had changed. The carpet pattern now rippled like water beneath his feet. The wallpaper had turned from beige to sickly green. And there, the door. 441. Where before there was only a wall, now a door stood quietly, waiting. The brass number gleamed. The key in his hand began to hum, vibrating with a soft, mournful frequency. His mouth was dry. But he reached out, anyway. And opened it. Inside was the room. Dusty. Faded. The air stank of mildew and memory. The same out-of-tune piano melody played, as if it had never stopped. A woman stood at the window, her back to him. Angela. The woman turned slowly. It wasn't Angela. It was someone else. Someone he hadn't thought of in years. And the moment he saw her face, the rest of the memory came flooding back.